So far, we managed to get details about our trip, including the departure, destination, date and time, and so on. Now we're going to retrieve details about the driver. So, to get details of the driver, we're going to look at the trips table. So you can see that we've got a user ID column referring to our driver's ID. So if we want to find information about the driver, we need to get this user ID and then go to the users table, okay, and then look for details corresponding to that user. And that's what we're going to be doing. All right. So now, first of all, we're going to get the user ID. So to get the user ID, we're going to go back to our row, which shows the line that we are dealing with right now inside the results objects. And okay, let's call this person ID. And we're gonna go to the elements of key user ID. Okay, so now we've got the user ID. Now to get information about this user, we will need to run another query to get this record from the users table. Okay, so run a query to get user details. So let's call our query SQL2. So we're going to select all records from the users table with a user ID match. So select all records from our users table, which is users, and the condition is that we've got a match of the user ID. Okay, so we're looking for one record, so a good practice would be to add a limit one. Anyway, it's gonna return one record, okay, even if you don't add limit one. All right, so now let's run the query. So you're gonna define a variable result or result2 to run the query using the function MySQLi query. So again, this will take our connection variable and our query. So once we run the query, we're going to get the user details. So first, let's check if the query is successful. Or let's check the opposite. So when we run the first query, we did that. So let's do the same. So again, when we show the error, we'll still show the error corresponding to the query for debugging purposes. Okay. At the end, you don't have to do this. You can just show any error message you like. Okay, without having to show the query itself and the error message. All right. So once we do that, then if we skip this check, that means that the query has run successfully. Okay, so now if the query is successful, then we're going to get the record from the query. So you're going to use the function MySQLi fetch array. So unlike in the previous case, okay, we're not going to have any while loop or anything like that because we're going to do that only once. So let's define a variable row2 where we're going to store the record. Okay, so inside this record, we're going to have all the details we want about our driver, including their first name, gender, comments, and so on. Okay, so let's start with their first name. So that's going to be the element of key first name. All right, so now let's move to the gender. So we're looking at the element of key gender. Then to get comments or more information about the driver, let's define a variable more information. And that will correspond to the element of key more information. Okay, now let's move to the picture. That's going to be profile picture. And we also need the phone number. All right, now regarding the phone number, we're going to check if the user is logged in or not. Okay, if the user is logged in, we're going to show the phone number. Otherwise, we're not going to show the phone number. So to check if a user is logged in, we're just going to check the session variable user ID. Okay, so you can do this like this or use the isSet function. Okay, I'm going to do it like that for now. So if the user is logged in, then we're going to set the phone number variable to the phone number of the user. So to get the phone number of the user, we're going to access the element of key phone number. That's if the user is logged in. Otherwise, we will just set the phone number to a message saying something like, please sign up. Okay. So if I log out, you can see that's the text we want to show. All right, so now we've got all details that we want about our user. So now we are ready to print our trip using the trip details and the user details. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to echo some HTML code. All right, so we will continue in the next video.